a lot of us know that the source material for Aladdin draws a lot of inspiration from South Asian cultures and Middle Eastern as well. As the talent yourselves and part of the production, are there any ways that the team makes sure these original cultures still shine through in the final product?
One of the first things I noticed coming to the stage is like our set pieces are so well crafted. In Aladdin's, like in his home, there's like a little tapestry that's hung up that like I actually have at home, and so like a similar one, and so like just even like attention to detail like that, it's just like everyone put in the time and effort to think about where these stories have come from, and also taking the time to like go to those places and understand the influences a little bit better. It's wonderful to feel supported in that way.
And the costumes. The costumes is the first thing I think of. I mean, so first of all, our costumes are hand beaded in India. There's a million Swarovski crystals on it. You know, it's so beautiful. For my wedding costume, I'm basically wearing a lehenga, and you know, I think that when I put it on, I do feel my roots, and we almost have this like Sangeet moment too during the wedding where, you know, you do your dance with the men and I do my dance with the girls, and it's, you know, and it's not exactly like what you'd experience at an Indian wedding, but it definitely nods to it, and I appreciate that a lot.
Really preserving that essence.
Yeah, and also like we get to carry that, you know. I think that it gives us a responsibility.
When we first started, I believe there was actually a consulting company that helped make sure that we were staying really true to having even from the fabrics to even the kind of spices that were on the marketplace carts. So being fully immersed even from day one in an authentic place really helped us kind of find ways to bring things back in. They gave us a really authentic place to start from, and that really inspired us to kind of continue forward to tell the story authentically.
Down with spices too.
Yeah, yeah, it really is like the amounts and mounds and colors and like how things go on the carts. It was all consulted. It was very cool.
I'm an elder company member, so so when I joined the company, a lot of people had to go through this process called Lion King School, where before you were cast in the show, when they were just considering you for the role, when you moved up in the process, you would go to this school essentially for a week. They would bring somebody in and you'd learn the different South African languages. You would learn about South African history and culture for a week, and then at the end you would put on this presentation, and that already set the tone for when I got hired. Like being around the South Africans in our show, a lot of the movement that we do is actually Balinese movement. So it's like all of those elements, it's like all of these different cultures coming together to tell this story. Different Asian cultures, different South African cultures, like the puppet stuff is very, very specific. So you were pulling, Julie Taymor was brilliant in that. It's like, look how well all of these cultures pull together to tell this one story. It definitely informed not only how I played the role, but just also how I moved through the community, and a desire to want to learn more about different cultures, different spaces, what else is out there. And especially as somebody who didn't grow up traveling or having the means to travel at all, it's like I feel like I'm transported when I come to work.
That's incredible, since even 20 years ago they were putting so much research into the development.
Yes.
It seems like it really is like a show that only you can find on Broadway and in New York, where it's this, you know, melting pot medley of all these diverse cultures that comes in.
Yeah.
Well, The Lion King does an excellent job of ensuring that there's actually South African actors in the show to keep the authenticity of the music, the culture, the dancing, and that everybody understands not just what they're saying, but why they're saying it. We sit down, we have rehearsals where people have to understand the origins of why that song was created, why it was written, and what it means in the context of the world and then of the show. And so The Lion King makes sure that we understand our role in society today, not just about telling the story, but why we're telling the story.
Whether that be the costuming and the beading work or the paint job that is done on our faces, everything very much has a reason why it's being done that pertains to the South African culture. I'm not South African, but I very much understand the verbiage and the songs that I'm singing because they took the time with us, word by word, of helping us understand what we are singing, why we are singing it, and how we're doing that together.
Just speaking from your experience, what is it like to sort of embody a character from, growing from cultures that are outside of your own experience?
Well, it's very beautiful. It's beautiful to do the mask work and incorporate the South African culture in that, and in the dancing and in the storytelling. We are all very family oriented, and that's what the story is encompassed around, is the importance of family and coming back to family. So everyone will understand that.
It's so great that we're finally getting a wave of including the people from the original cultures in the actual production. Better late than never. Was there anything in these performances where you learned something new about the cultures that they originated from?
Oh my gosh. Lion King has employed, I think it's somewhere around 300 South African people over the course of its time. Being around them is really, I think, the greatest education. It's like, you can ask C. Manye, it's like, okay, so these elements of the Rafiki character, what does that mean? You know, like, where does that come from? And she can tell you, she's like, oh yeah, I that is this thing, and I'm drawing inspiration from my aunt and my grandma and my whatever who filled this position in our culture back home. And Pearl Kweze, who plays Nala opposite me, has taught me a few words and phrases and things to I can greet people. Yeah, I mean, every day there's something new.
Aladdin clearly draws its references from different parts of Middle Eastern culture, not really anything specific. It is a fictional Middle Eastern city. After the pandemic, when Michael Maliakel and Shobha Narayan were the faces of our show, who are both Indian, you started to see more people of Indian descent in the audience, and little Indian girls dressed up as Jasmine, and you just realize how important it is for you to see yourself on stage. There's a lot of diversity within this fictional city, but to be able to sort of like maybe pick yourself out and see yourself on stage is really important, because it gives people a chance to dream if they want to, and a chance to feel seen, as well. In this post-pandemic, space that we're in, especially now, it's become a lot more important for people to see their authentic selves represented as well. So I think that it's still a journey. We're still on that journey. Disney is aware that they have to join that, that journey as well. And I think that they are. I mean, there's a long ways to go, but I think that we're on the right track.
I had to do some research on my own to really understand where certain things were coming from. So I needed to immerse myself in the world and the sort of tapestry of what this beautiful these cultural influences that they're taking from to create this fictional place called Agrabah. We are so very blessed to have beautiful people from those cultures in our show as well, and that is a wonderful thing to be able to learn from. Some of the pants in our show, we have very large pants, the way they are designed, and why that is that way, culturally, why the significance of those pants. I got to learn from one of my castmates. This sort of fusion cultural extravaganza, if you will, that makes it so beautiful. And it's why when you see the show, you are blown away. I think not only by the beauty, but by the culture. We're bringing all these different cultures into this, thing, which, looks like our world, looks like where we are. And why not celebrate that?
And making it feel true to life.
Yes, yes.